All right, back here at Metro Scene, Marvin Jackson along with Manna Nichols. And she is the star of My Fair Lady here at Arena Stage, playing Eliza Doolittle. And talk about being here in DC. This is your debut here at Arena Stage.
Yep, this is my arena debut. I worked in DC one other time. I did a Mulan at Imagination Stage. So it's great to be back. I love DC, and it was really fun to be back during an election year. So
All right. Yeah, I'm sure.
I was excited. I'm an Obama fan.
Yeah. Well, talk about when you first heard that you were selected for this role. Talk about that. And
I was elated. I had memorized the sides on the plane on the plane back from LA. I was doing a gig out there. So I think I had printed off the sides at 3:30 in the morning, memorized them on the way to the airport, worked on them on the airplane all day, came back, didn't feel well, had a couple days to rest, and ended up auditioning. And it all just happened so fast. I remember I got a call from my agent. I remember screaming at my apartment like a little kid. And I was just so excited. I've wanted to play Eliza since 8th grade. So it was fun to finally know that the opportunity was going to happen.
you know, we were talking to Sharday Simmons, and she was talking about the audition process. And I think you guys actually met during that process, or right afterwards.
We met right after we'd been cast here in the city. My audition, I think we both auditioned in New York. We didn't know each other at the time. I think she went to the dancer audition, and I had an appointment for Eliza through my agents. So, but yeah, we both auditioned in New York City.
So how do you go into these auditions? I mean, you're going in auditioning for Eliza, that part only, I guess. And how do you feel? Do you feel real confident? I mean, how do you feel when you go in for these auditions like this?
I would love to say I feel really confident. Honestly, I was nervous. I was so nervous.
But isn't that a natural thing, though?
I mean,
Yeah.
I think everybody's different. I know I feel like I become my middle school self again, where I get very nervous, very shy, and then it just becomes an acting game. Like, how confident can I act in the room right now? And also just knowing that even if I don't get this audition for 5 minutes in the room, I am Eliza. So I got it. For 5 minutes, I am playing the role. And, you know, even if you don't get cast, I just kind of go in with the mindset of, I am cast for these 5 minutes, and I'm going to make the most of them.
Do you look at the movie first before you before you go in?
I watched the movie when I was little, and I didn't watch the movie before because you know, Audrey Hepburn is her own entity, and for me to do a caricature of that, I'm not Audrey Hepburn, and I'm not going to do a justice to a caricature of her. So I did watch a snippet on the Cockney accent because I'd never done Cockney before. So I watched it a little bit just to get the dialect enough to go through the audition, but I didn't watch it a whole lot.
And talk about this. I mean, how do you do it? You switch from Cockney to the aristocrat fair lady. How do you do it all in one 2 or 3 hour period? I mean,
it's a real challenge because I hadn't done the accents before, but Kim was one of our coaches here, a friend of mine, Stephen Ng, in New York City, spent an entire evening with me teaching me how to write out phonetically. I typed up all of my dialect and I wrote out phonetically all the sounds, how to pronounce them. So he really spent a lot of time with me. Kim helped Anita as well here. They both coached all of us in the accents, and then in music rehearsals
that's
with
Kim
Paul.
James Bay, right?
Yes, yeah.
She's excellent.
Yeah, and Paul, our music director, also made sure that as we were learning the music, we had the accents going along with it, so it didn't become something we had to add in later. We learned everything organically, you know, from the start. So that was very helpful too. Just we had a lot of people who really knew what they were doing to help coach us along the way. So they get a lot of credit for that.
When you came out, I mean, it was so believable. I mean, it was like I was right there in 1912 London.
Oh,
I mean,
good.
That accent and everything about you when you came out there was 1912 London.
Oh,
you know, flower girl, Cockney flower girl. Can you give a little example of that accent when you first come out there? You know.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, I'm trying to even think of one of my lines. I mean, I know she's talking about, oh, two bunches of violets trod in the mud. I think that's like one of my first lines or something like that. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And I mean, it just sounds so realistic, and then all of a sudden you're doing the rain in Spain, falls mainly in the plain,
She talks very proper
and then
and
by George, you got it, you know?
Yep. Just that simple.
Yeah.
I was telling them they were videotaping our rehearsals or whatever, our first day, our first read through. And in the middle of dialect coaching, I'm thinking, this is what they should videotape, us trying to learn these accents. Like, this is the real story. It's like trying to learn all these different dialects and accents. So
So, but that was a lot of fun, huh?
that was a lot of fun.
So, you know, growing up, is that something that you always wanted to do, is perform or act?
I think when I was little, it was one of those childhood fantasy dreams, like a kid who says he or she wants to be an astronaut. And where you're born in that place and time, it's kind of very far-fetched, and it's not a job that people do. So it's kind of a dream you learn to not talk about, because it doesn't seem realistic. You know, people say, oh, oh, this cute little kid, she wants to be an actress. But I think it's something, as you see people's reactions to it, over time you kind of learn to suppress it because you realize it's not normal. And then, when life kind of takes a turn later on during school or wherever kind of God sends you, and it becomes more plausible, it's something that you're just thinking, this is something I used to do just in the bathtub or in the car or in my bedroom for fun. And how great to be able to support yourself and make a living, and your job is now your childhood dream. So it's something I think I wanted to do as a child, but it wasn't something I could ever really honestly talk about or express.
All right.
So.
And now here you are playing the role of Eliza Doolittle.
Yeah.
Cockney flower girl, 1912 London. And, this is not really our grandparents or our parents' My Fair Lady, is it?
No. This is Molly Smith's My Fair Lady.
Ah. When you say that, what do you mean? I mean, because it's a different, it's not the traditional. It's
No.
not really Julie Andrews or Audrey Hepburn playing that
No.
part, huh?
So one thing I really love about this production, and one of the reasons I really wanted to work with Molly Smith and here at Arena, I'd heard about the Oklahoma auditions a few years ago and went in for that, and I didn't get cast. It's okay. But I love that Molly does not change the story. She keeps the story for what it is. The playwright, everything is genuine. Doesn't change the music or the story, but she tells the story of My Fair Lady and puts it in terms of modern day. We in America are a country of immigrants. The original people here were Native American, so all of us are immigrated in. Whether you're of European descent, very few people, I think, can say I am 100% German or Irish or this or that. We're all a mix.
Exactly.
And London during the time was very much like New York City. It was a mix of people, just like America today. And it's so wonderful, I think, to see her put a beautiful palette of different colors, races, physical sizes and shapes on stage, because I feel like that is what America is today. Look around at your friends and coworkers. I mean, we are all a mix of something.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, that's what makes it so great. And, talk about the influence of the wardrobe person and the costume person. I mean, the costumes are just awesome in this production. I mean, and it's especially for you because you have to go from Cockney flower girl to aristocrat. How did that feel doing that?
It was amazing. I feel like the costumes make you feel even more so like the characters. Judith's design aspect is absolutely beautiful. So they used the steampunk influence for the lower class and kind of darker colors, more of a grungy look for the wigs, for the costumes, for everything, and then a very Alexander McQueen influence for a lot of the gowns, and especially in the Ascot scene with the fascinators. Deborah did some crazy, crazy, amazing work with all the fascinators. it was amazing for me when I first came in. I think I had maybe 13 to 15 hours worth of costume fittings, and they first fit you with a Muslim mock-up. So they make your entire costume out of like white or tan muslin, and you're trying on these beautiful things, and they're marking them and they're tearing them up and cutting them up. And it was amazing to me, the detail work that went into just doing the mock-ups. You could only imagine then what your final costume's going to look like. I mean, it was then when you finally tried on everything, you just feel like a princess.
And you know, speaking of that, there were some great scenes in this. And did you have a favorite time in the performance, in the show, or a favorite scene?
I really love singing Loverly, because
I love that song.
it was a song that I sang as a little
As a
girl
girl,
when I got
yeah.
my first role in a musical, and so it was my confidence song when I was little. So I loved that song, and I also love Dance All Night because, you know, you grow up hearing your grandma sing it, hearing your friends sing it, and it's just such a beautiful melody. The lyrics are beautiful. I love that. I also love getting to the church on time.
Yeah.
I'm not in that scene, but James Sato, who plays my father, we dance in the back, like behind the audience,
Right.
in the vom together, because it's such a contagious song.
It is.
So fun.
Yeah. Well, any influences, any people that you looked up to in this field?
Well, when I was younger, actually our community theater did a production of My Fair Lady and Guys and Dolls, and these two women who played Sarah and then who also played Eliza. I went as a student and saw them, and I was very inspired and just thought that would be kind of cool to do. And years later in high school, I did a chorus line with these two women just at our community theater, and it was really cool for me just to get to share the stage with these women that I really looked up to. Growing up, I listened to Lea Salonga all the time because she was, you know, an Asian role model. I loved listening to her, you know, in Aladdin and Mulan, Miss Saigon. I grew up with, so grew up listening to them. Also in college, really started listening. I loved listening to Ella Fitzgerald. I worked with a jazz
was great,
ensemble in
too.
college, and
Yeah.
or Erica Whitaker when I was working on choral stuff. So I have a kind of a very mixed, different kinds of role models, not all necessarily vocal role models, but different people that I admire artistically.
All right.
Why should people come see this?
Well, they should come because it's an amazing story, and the design concept of the show, I think, is so unique. It's a story that we deal with today. I mean, it's a story of classes. Yes, it's set in London a long time ago, but we are still facing the same issues today. In the election, we're talking about this percentage of people, taxes, this and that. It's a story about class. It's a story about education. It's a story about relationships, not only of a romantic sort of relationship, but of mutual respect and just love and respect that we have. It's a story of relationships amongst people and amongst class and breaking down barriers.
All right. Well, you guys did a great job of doing that.
Thank
And we have a lot of respect for you, Manna Nichols. And thanks for joining us on Metro Scene, and wish you guys a good run here at Arena Stage.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right. Manna Nichols on Metro Scene. We'll be right back.